Hello guys, it's been a while since I brought a video about human diseases, curiosities on the channel. In recent months, I've received many requests to address a topic that, as always, when talking about diseases can be quite delicate, but I believe it's important to address without too many taboos, with the aim of informing and remedying the general misinformation that too often accompanies these topics. So today, I will talk to you about bipolar disorder, a psychological disorder that is well known by name and affects a good portion of the world's population. But it is subject to misunderstandings in many cases. For example, there are people who think it is related to multiple personalities, but it has nothing to do with this concept. Bipolar disorder has consequences on how an individual feels and how they act. Its main characteristic is an exaggerated and sudden change in mood. For example, the transition from a manic phase to a depressive one. It's not just about simple mood swings, but real emotional states that limit the individual and can lead them to be unable to perform the simplest actions and to be unable to manage their own life normally. In short, bipolar disorder is a very serious condition. And in today's video, in 10 points, I will try to help you understand it better. So here is bipolar disorder, 10 things you need to know. This disorder, as we said, is a very serious condition, which can rarely be treated without the help of medication. The most common therapy is with lithium, but there are other drugs on the market that can be valid substitutes. In the manic phase, the individual can end up in debt, leave their job, feeling an unusual energy that can lead him to sleep only a couple of hours a day, and to make reckless choices in his life. In the depressive phase, on the other hand, the same individual can feel so bad and devoid of energy that they are unable to get out of bed. Bipolar disorder is not synonymous with emotional instability. This is a point to emphasize very clearly, because there is this tendency to believe that bipolar disorder coincides with sudden changes in one's mood. For example, when we argue with a friend or a family member, it is possible to change mood quickly, but this is due to one's impulsivity or a completely normal defense mechanism. Bipolar disorder should never be confused with the mood changes that we can all be subject to at certain times in our life. The disease can be genetic, but not always. It is true that there are greater chances of suffering from this condition if another family member suffers from it. But some studies conducted on twins have shown that one of the two can have the condition and the other does not. At the same time, the disorder can affect both men and women without major differences, and is usually diagnosed around the age of 20. The condition can be caused by the intake of certain substances, such as drugs like cocaine, ecstasy, amphetamines, or certain medications like those for treating the thyroid or corticosteroids. People who suffer from bipolar disorder are more prone to certain diseases, for example, thyroid problems, headaches, migraines, heart problems, and obesity. Unfortunately, this point makes the disease more severe as the patient has to deal with these additional disorders. There are different types of bipolar disorder, and they are divided into the following categories. Cyclothymic disorder is the least severe type. Its symptoms can last at least less than 2 years. It is characterized by the development of various hypomanic episodes alternated with periods of mild depression. Bipolar I disorder is characterized by the presence of manic episodes and at least one mixed episode. In most cases, manic or mixed episodes are alternated by one or more depressive periods. Bipolar II disorder. This is characterized by at least one major depressive episode, interspersed with at least one hypomanic episode. And finally, we have unspecified bipolar disorder, which does not meet any of the above criteria. As we were saying, the disease can be characterized in some cases by what are called mixed episodes, that is, manic and depressive episodes that occur simultaneously. For example, a person suffering from intense sadness or crying during a manic phase. When we talk about a manic episode, we are referring to a period where the subject's mood is abnormally high and particularly irritable. In this phase, self-esteem increases. There is a feeling of grandeur, of invincibility, the feeling of having great ideas, and a general increase in social, work activity, etc. The sleep period in this phase is reduced, as we said, usually to a few hours a day. On rare occasions, it is the subject who suffers from this disorder who seeks help, but the same person may have great difficulty following their pharmacological therapy in the midst of a manic phase. The problem, however, is that bipolar disorder, which is not treated with drugs, tends to worsen, so keeping the intake of the same under control is fundamental. And finally, bipolar disorder is a very serious condition that can have consequences on the quality of life of those who suffer from it. This does not mean, however, that with appropriate therapy, a person cannot live a full and happy life. This is a very important point to consider. In short, those who suffer from bipolar disorder are not necessarily condemned to live a miserable life away from society. As I always say at the end of these types of videos, the information just given is not exhaustive enough to explain such a complex condition in detail. There could be many other things to highlight, but I believe these 10 points at least have the merit of shedding light on a problem that many of us think we know, but we really don't understand it thoroughly. How much confusion there is about bipolar disorder, how many misconceptions that make it harder to understand those who suffer from it. I really hope I've given you at least the basic information that can help you better understand the individuals who are victims of it. Clearly, if you think someone should see this video, let them have it, share it. If instead you want to add some personal consideration or your own experience, leave a comment below. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a like or share it with your friends. Greetings and see you in the next video of the unexplainable.